And we're back to DGS again. I had some weird sound issues apparently from the last video, but I was running into so many problems just to make the 3DS work in the last one that I didn't really want to go back through it again. So I apologize for the lack of volume and music in the last one. It should be fixed and should be okay now. I hope. Anyway, we've created a weird twist today, and now I'm just kind of wondering what the heck is this trial, what is happening with this trial right now. But we've turned the tides and now accusing these two as potentially the ones who murdered Mori-san, so... Anyway, where was I? Just, what is the meaning of this? Just what is this all about? That's what we want to ask. Don't think I'll just let that pass. Dear Lord, as if I could. We can't accept it. That's what we're saying. Fair play, son. If I did know better, I'd say. And I would agree. It's almost as if I were the one, being accused of stabbing the victim or blamed for something of the like. Oh. Well, he had another line. He said, I vehemently protest. Vehemently, I say. Yes, to you. I protest to you, alright. What the fuck is going on? I love Mega Doll. He's just laughing over there. I'm like, dude, you are so guilty at this point. You are so guilty. Order. Are those the witnesses from earlier? I will not permit you to storm onto the stand at your own discretion. Your protest can wait. But this is just too much. It cuts us to our cause. Surely you all must understand that. Your Honor, if I may be permitted to speak. What is it, Lord Von Zeeks? For starters, the one to first ignore the rules of the courtroom was the defense. He indicted these witnesses without regard for proper procedure or reason. Indicted? That wasn't my intent. It seems that your English still requires more work, Japanese boy. The victim fell into the carriage through the skylight. That supposition doesn't hold up unless the passengers on the upper deck are involved. You have deemed these men's testimony as lies, and thereby indicted them as the murderers. That's what we here in Great Britain call an unlawful indictment. I know that I have no proof of this supposition, and that it's completely insane, but I can't just let this go.
What's the hold-up? Let those chaps testify!
That unusual hat of yours. I thought it was suspicious from the start.
We've come this far. Our only choice now is to see it through.
Rubbish. Must be disposed of.
Testify! 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 That's what they're all saying. Naruhodo-sama, what's going on? Bloodlust is rising throughout the courtroom. Upper deck witnesses. Yes! The court orders you gentlemen to testify one more time about the accusations the defense just made. Ooh, very well. I wasn't counting on this. Mango Doll, what have you done? What have we done? I don't have any more time to think this over. All I can do now is press forward. This is really bad. Rebuttal against accusations. There was no one on the upper deck aside from the two of us, honestly. One of us has murdered someone in place like that. The other would have noticed, don't you think? For starters, I don't even know the victim. What reason would I have to do such a thing? The skylight is always kept closed. We couldn't have opened it. If the victim really fell through the skylight, I'd certainly like to see some proof. As far as I can hear from this testimony, If either of you had tried to commit murder in such a prominent place, it's unthinkable that the other wouldn't have noticed. Yes, that's exactly right! So you see, there's absolutely no way that we...
It would be a different story altogether if the two of you were conspirators, though.
According to Scotland Yard's investigation, there were no links found connecting these two men.
Ha! I trust the police about as much as I trust an aristocratic twat.
What's with this strange atmosphere? The flow of the trial is proceeding to our advantage, so why can't I shake this uneasy feeling? Now then, defense, the court will hear your cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Because... oh my god, this makes me very uncomfortable. This whole case has now made me very uncomfortable. So you're saying the victim, Morisan, wasn't riding up there with you? Yes, right! No question about it, is basically what we're saying. Oh, I mean, that's right, for starters, I saw it. The victim was in the carriage speaking with this man! Let's take a moment to just enjoy this. This is like Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright witness testimony up another level, because this is great. This is real interaction happening here, and I love it. Is this true, defendant? Oh my, I rather dislike repeating myself, but I boarded the carriage alone and I was sleeping. That's a lie! After all, I'm sure I saw you and someone. Do you have any proof of that? Proof is everything in the modern courtroom. It wouldn't hurt to remember that. But I saw you! I saw you! Yada yada. This is so bad. But I love this whole testimony because of all the interactions happening. It's ridiculous. I love it. The murder occurred on the last carriage of the evening after 10 p.m., right? Perhaps it was simply dark and you couldn't see each other very well. No, what are you? No. You mustn't say such ridiculous things, is what we're getting at. Then, perhaps you dozed off? That's... Like I said, that's... No, what do you... To, put it in other words. Why don't you see if you can carelessly doze off in a freezing cold place like that? I can guarantee that that's one sleep you'll never wake up from. So then, I guess it must have been quite cold, huh? That's right, and this man had locked the carriage from the inside, and he wouldn't open the door even if we knocked. Oh, I'm truly sorry for that. I was fast asleep and didn't even hear you. Lies! At that time you were talking to someone in the carriage! It was cold that night. It wouldn't have been strange for you to have been seeing things. Seeing things?! Oh my god, Mangadol! It seems that it's impossible to discuss this point any further. Oh my god. If you intend to call me a suspect, naturally, it's only fair that you two be considered such as well. It's fair and uninhibited disputes that will usher in a true capitalist society. I don't want any part in a dispute like that. Oh my god, what is going on? Pressing! So then, you never met the victim, Thrice-Baked Mortar-san, before, right? Yes, quite yes! He was quite a stranger to us, that's what we're saying, alright? You neither, Lady First-san? Of course, I mean, I'm just a humble hatter. I don't see what that has to do with anything. Basically, what I want to make clear is that I had absolutely no connection with any of these chaps. Who is that? Oh. Manga doll. Is everything alright, Manga doll-san? Yes, of course, Mr. Attorney. Did something come to you just now? About that testimony just now? No connection. These two? What is it? Mr. Fairplay, long time no see. Eh? Come to think of it, it's not far off now, is it? Your repayment day. Well... You borrowed 20 guineas from me, didn't you? It's unlawful! Such violent money-lending practices! You tricked me into... In other words, you have a reason to hold a grudge against me, don't you? A grudge which would be an awfully powerful motive for you to try to pin the blame for your crime on me. Ugh. Look at this man, he's just twisting everything! And everyone is falling for it! And you, Mr. Lady First. Me? What is it? You claim to be a hatter. Did you make that splendid silk hat yourself? Oh, yes, well, I'm actually still an apprentice, but I measure each customer one by one and create a perfect hat for them. Perfect, That seems a little too personalized. But there are plenty of customers who like the personalized field. For example, the victim, thrice-baked Mora. I saw that a photo of the crime scene was submitted earlier. Ah, you mean this? This very original silk hat. I believe you'll recognize it. Oh! This is one that I made. It seems that the mason was one of your customers. Perhaps you had some sort of quarrel concerning that very unique hat. No, that's... I never... In other words, what I'm trying to say is... The last thing you two are is unrelated. That is all. Oh my god, but... Maybe he's more suited to being an attorney than me. Ouch! Mangold-sama seems to have thoroughly investigated this, doesn't he? He's playing the court in his hands. It's ridiculous. Now then, shall we continue the trial? Holy shit. Be a great villain, though. It was close. Are you sure about that? You see, that's... There can be no doubt, is basically what he's saying. Oop, what? Okay. Here! Just look at the carriage! Currently, you see, even now it's tightly sealed. Well, I'm sure you could have managed to knock the victim through it somehow. What? Just judging by that skylight size, you see. No, you mustn't focus solely on its size. You must look at the big picture, I beg you. Yare. When I rode the omnibus before, I passed gas so loudly that even I startled myself. What possessed you to Sorry, I can't. Hold on. What possessed you to confess that so suddenly? Fart jokes in our Ace Attorney games. Yep. It's just that at the time I attempted to open the skylight. But no matter what I did, it wouldn't open. And there was quite a stink throughout the carriage. I was flushed and covered with oily perspiration as everyone's gazes settled on me. The judge is not amused. As I said before, what possessed you to confess that? So, in other words, that skylight wouldn't open. I tried to do so from the inside. You know? Is something wrong, Gina-san? Gina-san! It does open. Huh? After all, it's a skylight, right? That's a very cumbersome weapon. You can throw one of those open in a snap. Looks like you can't handle that weapon in a snap, though. That's not true. I mean, when I pass gas. You can't do it from the inside, though. Huh? Oh, this is really convenient. I rode on the carriage's upper deck a while back. Things went swimmingly. So swimmingly, in fact, that my pockets were bulging with wallets. The witness could please refrain from bragging about her pickpocketing exploits. But I get scared when that happens. When I'd stolen the fourth person's wallet, I was suddenly discovered. They all surrounded me, and I couldn't jump off the carriage and make a break for it. So, I opened the skylight at my feet and escaped through it. All I had to do was undo the lock. What? The skylight's lock is on the upper deck, so you can't open it from the inside of the carriage. You can't open it from the inside? Bailiff! Attempt to open that carriage's skylight at once! Hey! I'm not sure if I'm happy about this or not. See? Order! 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 It would seem that this girl's testimony was correct. So it was possible for the skylight to have been opened from the upper deck. Naruhodo-sama. I wonder if this might have been the new clue we were looking for. Now then, defense, continue your cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. The skylight opens. I wonder if I should check it out for myself. Well, sure, let's do it right now. The latch on the skylight was closed. It's been unlatched now, so we should be able to open it. Alright, we're gonna open it. There's nothing from the outside that we can see, so we're gonna go on inside. Something visibly red here. Oh, God. Oh. It's true that if the skylight can be opened this wide, it's likely that it would be possible to kick someone at least your size down through it. Why me? Ah! What is it, Susato-san? There! Look! This can only be... It's a bloodstain! What's a bloodstain doing here? Perhaps it has something to do with this murder? No, it has something to do with... painting. The omnibus that acted as the scene of the crime. Oh, on the open skylight panel, there seems to be traces of blood. Wow. This omnibus has been tampered to bits. You want proof, good sir? We're gonna present the omnibus. That night, someone stabbed the victim with a knife and killed him. After that, the killer dumped his body into the carriage through the skylight. The decisive evidence that proves these facts has been clearly left on the scene of the crime, the omnibus. Oh! That's ridiculous! There's no way such proof even exists! That's right. After all, we're not the murderers. Decisive evidence on the omnibus, you say? Defense. Yes, Your Honor. It seems that it will be necessary to have you indicate it more clearly. The evidence left at the crime scene that indicates that the victim fell through the skylight. I don't even want to present this. This is just... Ugh. Ah! That's a bloodstain! This bloodstain makes two things clear. That the skylight was open when the murder occurred. Oh! And that the victim was bleeding when he passed through the skylight. Ah! In other words, at the very least, at that time, the defendant, Mangadol-san, who was inside the carriage, could not have possibly committed this crime. That can't be! Oops, I hit too hard. Order! 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 But, that blood may have been splashed there when he was stabbed inside the carriage! You think that blood splashed conveniently only on the skylight sill? Eh? Besides, it's only possible to open that skylight from the upper deck, yes? I couldn't have even opened it for starters. But, there's no way anyone can know if a body really did fall through that skylight. Take a good look at the floor of the omnibus. Mangadol, you sure know a lot of shit. This case! Here we clearly have a trace left behind when the poor victim fell. That can't be!
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, wouldn't you say this means we must settle on not guilty?
Yes. It seems that we now know who the real rubbish is.
What the blazes? I was completely taken in.
For them to have fouled up the carriage with blood, I won't let them get away with it.
It seems that I was the only one capable of seeing the truth.
In that case, everyone on my mark. And now!
You've done it now, Cosney Mangadol. Whatever do you mean, Lord Baroque von Zeeks? Bloodstains on the skylight, you say? I'm afraid that proof is invalid. What do you mean? For one reason. Because there was no trace. What are you talking about? As you can see, this is clearly a bloodstain. I was present while Scotland Yard was conducting its investigation. The investigation unit went over this omnibus quite thoroughly. So, I can say with confidence that there was no blood there. At least, not when this trial began. Eh?
Then this bloodstain.
Someone planted it there. At some point during this trial. Eh?
Oh my. What harsh words from our dear prosecutor, Lord Von Zeeks.
Baroque Von Zeek is not having any of your shit.
You mustn't forget that I am the star of London, Kazni Mangodal. I will fight most fervently against anyone who uses such slander against me. Even if that person happens to be the Grim Reaper prosecutor.
Kazni Mangodal. So far you have not so much as set foot in the dock. However, I'm well aware that you've been lurking in the shadows of numerous incidents. Though you may not have perpetrated them directly, you have been involved in several incidents. During their course, you have reworked those incidents.
He reworked them?
It wouldn't have been difficult for him, with the use of that bloated wallet of his that he bulked up through money lending and various crimes. Forging evidence, altering crime scenes, putting words in the mouths of witnesses whom you bought off. Words that are manufactured to your convenience.
Oh dear, I'm afraid you haven't a leg to stand on. Say, Mr. Attorney.
Yes?
Have you heard this prosecutor's hurtful conjecture? Perhaps, apparently, when the trial began, there were no blood traces.
Oh no.
However, I'd like you to recall that ever since the trial began, the omnibus has been right here. There simply wouldn't have been any opportunity for someone to plant fake blood.
You sure about that?
Isn't that right, Mr. Attorney?
He's got a point. This omnibus has been right here in front of everyone the whole time. Defense. I would like to hear your thoughts, in your own words. Understood. For someone to have planted the bloodstain in the carriage during this trial would have been impossible or possible. We are hurting our case from doing this. But the answer is possible. Although I think you can go with either option and it'll continue. But we're gonna go with the one that's really tough. A defense attorney is someone who stands in court for the sake of defending their client. But I feel like there's something more important than that. There is no proof that the defendant did such a thing. But if we're talking opportunity, there is one possibility.
What? What?
Precisely. It seems that that Oriental over there has no intention of fleeing in the face of your forgery.
Forgery?
I'm sure you all remember clearly how this trial was interrupted one time by this witness, Gina-san's smoke bomb. What the heck?
Naruhodo-sama, we're in danger. Please, get down on the floor.
Bailiff, don't let the defendant escape. Secure the omnibus.
The court is now in emergency recess. Bailiff, apprehend the defendant at once. Everyone else, withdraw from the courtroom.
Everyone's field of vision was obscured by the smoke, and everything was in utter chaos. Then,
we were all forced to evacuate. In that moment, under the cover of the panic, it would have been possible to approach the omnibus. Not a Holdo. Don't fuck with me!
Oh! No! The best part too! Are we back? Oh my god, I'm so sorry. The 3DS decided to crash right when that happened. Shit, man, I just lost momentum from that. I guess the 3DS couldn't handle, Cosney screaming at me. So we're just gonna stop there and we're going to continue on this little thing in the next video as I try to figure out what the heck just happened to my 3DS there, because it just decided to stop.
What's the hold-up? Let those chaps testify! Oh, bollocks, it's stuck again. Alright, one of you wankers lend me a hand, or are we gonna sit around making faces all day? Christ.
Fuck is going on? I love Mega Doll. He's just laughing over there. I'm like, dude, you are so guilty at this point. You are so guilty.
Order, order, order! Are those the witnesses from earlier? I will not permit you to storm onto the stand at your own discretion. Your protest can wait.
But this is just too much.
It cuts us to our cause. Surely you almost understand that.
Your Honor, if I may be permitted to speak.
What is it, Lord Von Zeeks?
For starters, the one to first ignore the rules of the courtroom was the defense. He indicted these witnesses without regard for proper procedure or reason.
Indicted? That wasn't my intent.
It seems that
Does.
We've come this far. Our only choice now is to see it through.
Rubbish. Must be disposed of.
testify, testify, testify. That's what they're all saying.
Naruhodo-sama, what's going on?
Bloodlust is rising throughout the courtroom.
Upper deck witnesses.
Yes!
The court orders you gentlemen to testify one more time about the accusations the defense just made.
Ooh, very well. I wasn't counting on this. Mango Doll, what have you done? Anyway, where was I? Just what is the meaning of this?
Just what is this all about? That's what we want to ask.
Don't think I'll just let that pass.
Dear Lord, as if I could.
Well, you can't accept it. That's what we're saying. Fair play, son. If I did know better, I'd say.
And I would agree.
It's almost as if I were the one, being accused of stabbing the victim or blamed for something of the like. Oh, well, he had another line. He said, I vehemently protest. Vehemently, I say.
Yes, to you. I protest to you, all right.
What the... And we're back to DGS again. I had some weird sound issues apparently from the last video, but I was running into so many problems just to make the 3DS work in the last one that I didn't really want to go back through it again. So I apologize for the lack of volume and music in the last one. It should be fixed and should be okay now. I hope. Anyway, we've created a weird twist today, and now I'm just kind of wondering what the heck is this trial, what is happening with this trial right now. But we've turned the tides and now accusing these two as potentially the ones who murdered Mori-san. So your English still requires more work, Japanese boy. The victim fell into the carriage through the skylight. That supposition doesn't hold up unless the passengers on the upper deck are involved. You have deemed these men's testimony as lies, and thereby indicted them as the murderers. That's what we here in Great Britain call an unlawful indictment. I know that I have no proof of this supposition, and that it's completely insane, but I can't just let this go.
What's the hold-up? Let those chaps testify!
That unusual hat of yours. I thought it was suspicious from the